Hello everyone, thanks for having us on board the virtual Getahead festival. Really love what Jenny and the team are doing to help others in the industry right now, and I think it's a great initiative, so we're really excited to be on board today. And if you're watching us today, thanks for taking time out of your busy days to join us. So yeah, hopefully we can provide you with a bit of insight and let you know what we've been up to. So we know this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and Getahead are really supporting the theme of kindness. So what we wanted to do is chat about the kindness that we've seen in the music industry in the past 2 weeks. And I think there's been some great examples of how people have really pulled together. I think one thing that we all know from working in the music industry is that it can be a scary place. I think it's very fast paced, it's full of change. You can often feel like you're on your own sometimes, but it is also an industry that was really built on togetherness, community, and I guess just having a good old dance together on the dance floor. So I think what we've seen is everyone's just pulled together. I think everyone's just kind of seeing that we're all in the same boat, and for this industry to get through and survive, we really need to help each other out to make sure everyone comes through it as strong as possible. So this is why I think we've seen such a good sense of goodwill, because I think it's a competitive space, but the future and the strength of the industry really relies on as many events pulling through as they can. So I think that's why we've seen promoters, event owners, agents, managers, marketers, everyone else involved in the music industry have really pulled together to help out. And I think no one's going at it alone right now. And I think, there was a time then everyone wanted to kind of keep their own secrets and their own secrets to success to themselves. But I think now everyone's kind of sharing what's going on and how they can help others as well. And I think one thing that most people watching will agree is that everyone in the events industry seems to be real grafters at heart. I think we're used to doing whatever it takes to fill a dance floor, ringing your best mates, your nan, your dog to send invites on to your Facebook event. And we're really used to adapting to last minute change. I think that's one thing that we do quite well, whether it's thunder and lightning on the day of your festival, or your venue's not available last minute. Believe it or not, actually we had this once with a castle and we still managed to find another castle. So this is what we do. And I think change is what we've grown to expect, and it's all about problem solving. And I think that's something that this industry is so strong at doing. So I think we just want to highlight how people are still doing that. And I guess it's just we're kind of cracking on as business as usual, really. And then I guess that's on the event side, but we've also seen artists and talent use their voice for the greater good, and they've been entertaining people at homes. They've been using their voice and their platform to really fundraise and raise awareness of some other really important causes that are happening right now. For one example, which I'll speak about in a bit more detail, our business Keeps on Dancing, which is an initiative that we've started at Mustard Media. We've got a Facebook group where we've just been trying to connect with other event owners and business owners. I know Rob, one of our guests today, said there's a big WhatsApp group with loads of promoters in it all across the country who are just helping each other out and sharing what they know about what's going on, and if that can help anyone else. I think me personally, I've just connected with so many people that I maybe wouldn't have connected with if the situation was back to normal. So I think it's just about reaching out to other people, seeing what they're doing, sharing what you're doing, and I think it's really helped people pull together and have a clear plan of how to move forward, really. So yeah, I think one of my main takeaways is that don't be afraid to ask. Sometimes you might be so busy on your own projects that you don't really think to reach out to other people, but I think now is the time to just speak to as many people as you can and see what everyone's up to. And I think it'll really help you out with your own plans as well. So for today, let me introduce our panel that we've got for the next 40 minutes or so. So we've got Rob Masterson, who is Managing Director at Mustard Media, where I also work as well. And Rob's also the co-founder of events for COVID-19, which we're going to hear a bit more about later on. We've got Myrad Cormacan from Handmade Media, and she's going to be telling us all about the fundraising efforts and all of the community-driven campaigns that they've been working on with several of the artists that they work with. And then I'm going to also join the panel to discuss everything we've been doing over at Business Keeps on Dancing, and hopefully provide you with a bit of insight over that. But first up, we're going to go to Myrad. So thank you so much for joining us today. How's everything on your end?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, it's been an incredibly interesting time to be a digital marketing manager in music. But yeah, overall, I definitely would take it as a huge positive. There's been a lot of exciting things going on, a lot of campaigns I'm going to tell you a bit about today. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
Cool. So can you give us an overview of Handmade Media and who you work with?
Yeah, so Handmade Media is my company. It's a digital marketing agency with a focus in music, and in particular with working with artists to develop their identity and to grow their audiences online. So, I mean, just a few of the different artists which we work with: Chase and Status, Groove Armada, Eats Everything, Yoris Vaughan, Blondish, Sasha, Archie Hamilton, and a bunch of others as well. So we really focused mainly on artists, and we take an approach that we work very, very closely with them and kind of hand in hand with them to ensure that their vision and their voice finds its place online and communicate with their audiences in the most engaging possible way. So yeah, that's what we do.
Sounds like you've been busy.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more around the some of the campaigns that you've been working on with the artists? Because I know we caught up earlier this week, and it sounds like you've had so many positive campaigns across many different artists.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just as a kind of overall, we've really had to kind of rip up the rule book and kind of throw out all of our carefully laid campaign plans, put those in the bin and kind of build new ones out of this situation. Obviously, a lot has changed for artists, everyone's grounded, and so we're in a very different kind of time and space. So all of the artists and the campaigns that I've worked on have really been very community driven, and that's been a real focus for everyone, I feel, and that seems to be kind of the overriding theme that's coming out of this with artists in particular.
Yeah.
So just a bit of focus on some of the campaigns we've been running. So one of which is with Chase and Status. So kind of at the start of the pandemic, they really felt like they wanted to use their platform for some positive impact, and decided that we would start a campaign about raising money for the NHS. So we created 2 different bespoke t-shirts, and then later on a hoodie, which all kind of had branding which shouts out the NHS. And all profits from these t-shirts go to NHS charities together. Yeah. So far, in just under a month, we've raised £10,000 for the NHS.
Wow.
And we're still going. But that's really been the main focus of what we've been doing, and it's kind of been the whole team behind that. So yeah, that's Chase and Status. Then other artists, so I work with artist Blondish, and she's been streaming twice a week on Twitch since like very much the first week of the quarantine. She has 2 different shows. There's a weekday show, which is kind of like a musical offering, and then the Saturday show is like this all kind of bells and whistles interactive experience, kind of more like a TV show than a live stream. And both of these shows have become this incredibly positive space for her community, and it's been really interesting, really impactful, seeing how the community comes back week after week, and we're really getting to know who they are, and they're really getting to know each other. There's been kind of countless friendships formed in the chat. Yeah. And a lot of our watchers are kind of citing this as, these streams as something that's had a really positive impact on their lives during lockdown. Yeah. And we've been running them on Twitch, which we're really seeing the benefits of kind of the community building tools within Twitch. And it's been, really, really exciting getting to know that platform a lot better. And within that, we've also been raising money for Blondish's Buy My Plastic project, which is a cause, that at this moment in time, we can't completely forget about. I know there's a lot of other causes going on, but when we do get back into action, plastic is still a massive issue. So it's been great for us to be able to kind of use that space to also raise money for this project to allow it to continue through this time. Other campaigns to touch on, Groove Armada, we had the situation where Groove Armada had their new album planned to come out now, so there's been a lot of kind of shifting and changing things around, but we launched the album with the first video and single,
Mhm.
And the video had to be filmed in isolation. So this was like a really, I mean, it was a learning curve, but it was a really community-driven video piece. So we invited fans, celebrities, dancers, influencers to all. The track's called Get Up on the Dance Floor. So to basically all create their own dance floor in their own living rooms.
Yeah.
And produce like a user-generated music video. And then alongside that, there's also a user-generated content campaign where we ask fans to do the same, and we're producing a kind of second cut of the video. So that's been like a really positive kind of community building exercise. We really kind of got to know our fans and their faces and see them dancing at home. And then I guess the last one just to touch on is with Sasha and his Last Night on Earth label. Again, this has been really focused around bringing the community together. We created a community-driven Spotify playlist, which is regularly updated with tracks actually from the community, all suggested from them as tracks that make them feel positive and make them feel happy during this time. So we're really trying to bring our fans into our space and bring them into our Spotify playlist, as well as creating a kind of closed community group with them as well, so that we can talk to them more directly. Wow. So there's just a few of the things we've been working on.
Yeah, just a bit busy then.
Just a few.
Yeah, that's incredible to hear, and I think it's so nice to hear a mix of I think fundraising is a hard one. It sounds silly, but it's a hard one to approach, isn't it? Because there's so many people that need help. You kind of don't know where to start, but it's important that you've still been raising awareness of things like the plastic campaign that you mentioned, because there are a lot of charities that I think have almost fell behind because there's other things that have taken priority. So yeah, I love that. Great to see. Really good work on that. What I wanted to ask you was a few more questions around how you actually came up with the ideas, because I guess there's so many things to think of. Where did you kind of start with what you wanted to do to bring the community together?
Well, I think particularly with artists, it's about finding something that they really connect to personally. You know, if it's something that they feel passionate about, then it's something that's going to come through the message. And you know, pairing that up with something which we feel that their audience is also going to connect with and get behind. I'm really listening to the audience as well about what they want from the artist too. So for example, with Chase and Status, it was very driven by the fact, you know, they're a quintessentially British group, and they have kind of a real deep connection and gratitude towards the NHS. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for us to do something for them. And also their MC Pat, he's been helping in his local community, like going out to deliver meals to vulnerable people in Hackney. So he also felt this real connection to do something which helps people. So all of them they were very set on, right, we need to raise money, and the NHS was the obvious platform to raise money for. And we used their merchandise, because